Good Thursday morning, everybody. This is Grace, and it's the second video I've done this morning. I do want to say, pardon my the way I sound. I am as as the day goes on today, I'm realizing more and more that I'm coming down with something, and that's not good. But okay, so just pardon the way I sound, and I have a little cough every once in a while. Anyway, I want to talk about what I was talking about in my last video. The beginning of it, I mentioned, or some point in it, I mentioned that I had been taking a video when all this happened at the convenience store with the crazy predator guy. That before it all happened, I made one clip. It was like a minute, and but I'm not going to put that clip on because of the whole situation. Let's see what happens. I'm more afraid that this crazy man that took a picture of my license plate while I was in the SUV is going to try to come by here. So I'm keeping all the videos, the actual video of the situation where I was, off of YouTube, but on my camera, in my email too. So I email them to myself. But this was about what would happen before then, and earlier yesterday. And I'm an overachiever like this, apparently, where it's not going to be a day when just one thing happens. It's going to be two things at least. Yeah, that was sarcasm. But yeah, two strange things. That one was frightening, the one I did in the last video. And this one was just curious, I guess you could say. It was actually something I had done a video on before about somebody else that I knew, and of course I didn't say who she was, but it's about erotomania. And I usually say it erotomania so people will understand it easier, and they can look it up. And basically it's kind of more than this, but I'll sum it up as when somebody thinks somebody is in love with them, and that somebody that's supposed to be in love with them when they're not, is somebody higher up in whatever. Like if at a job it might be the owner, and the employee thinks the owner is in love with them when they're not. Or somebody in the media, and they don't even know these people. They don't even know personally this media person, and they think the media person is in love with them. Whatever is the case, they think somebody is in love with them. It's kind of, more powerful or more something, and that person isn't, So in my life, whenever I have something like that, I'm somewhat tested on it at a different level, I would say. Later on, some other time, something's going to come up, and I'm going to be like testing myself. What would I think? What would I do? That kind of thing. I'll be right back to talk about it. Okay. Now, in this situation that I was in, I've mentioned it before, so this is kind of a bit of an update now at this point, but it goes back. I'm not even sure how long. It could have been 2 years ago, at least. But it's basically a business I go to, and I'll give a little quick reminder of what the past was. And I found it, and I like it. It reminds me, kind of feels like home kind of thing, and feels comfortable. And they have two owners, co-owners with one another. It's both men around my age, and I don't know anything about them. And when I started going in there, it was just a business, I ran across, and I really didn't know who the people were or anything, but. So I don't remember my initial reaction, that gut instinct people talk about, survival, instinct, from when I first met them, because I was just a customer going into business. I wasn't thinking. I had other things on my mind, doing other things and all that. And so as time went by, anytime, I liked the place, so I'd go back there, but I didn't go there very often, maybe once a month, if that. So over time, at some point I started to wonder about something. And it was a mix. It was something basically they had, then they didn't have, and one wanted to order it and the other one didn't. But between all these, like I said, I only go in there every once in a while, and I started to wonder if these men were, one was flirting with me, the next time the other one, then one time both or something like that. And I'm thinking, are they flirting with me or what's going on? Now I will say this, like I said in another video about erotomania, is that I have experienced myself, I've seen somebody else experience this, that friendly people might come off as instead of friendly, they can come off as flirty, okay, flirtatious. When they're not being flirtatious, they're just friendly. And that has happened to me as me, the person who's the one that's just friendly and, being taken as flirtatious when I'm not. I'll be right. Now, because I have experienced it myself like that, I don't tend to make assumptions. I don't. If somebody's flirtatious, it makes me question, are they just being friendly? And in this situation, I could say, yeah, they were just being friendly. They're friendly people. And a lot of Texans are friendly people that I've run across. Maybe somebody else has a different experience, but not for me. So, I just said, no, that's not it. But then one time, that thing that they don't want to order came up. And it was like almost 2 months ago. And I thought, I've definitely felt triangulated, like they were trying to triangulate me into their own argument with one another, power play kind of thing. And I did a video on that one. I think that was the last video I did on this channel about that. But yeah, so I thought about it, and I said, no, I'm not going to go back. I can go to somewhere else, which actually there isn't that kind of somewhere else. Not at all. I haven't found anything. So I said I wasn't going to go back, and then like the other day, I started thinking about it again because I needed to go back, and I haven't found another place. And I started thinking about it, and I even told myself, don't do it, still don't do it. But I kind of went back and forth on it, and I said I'm going to go back and see, okay, just go back as a customer and get what I want, from the business. And yes, I said, oh, you're rationalizing. Then I would say, oh, you're this and you're that. I went back and forth, because it could be either way, or more. So I went back. And that was yesterday. So it's almost 2 months after the last time that when I started feeling like they were trying to triangulate me. So I went back yesterday. I'll be back. I say I'll be back because my transitions don't seem to work right. It just seems like one big video when there are actually breaks in it. Okay, pardon it, but my dogs are probably going to be barking in the background, or at least one of them. Anyway, so yesterday I went back. Hopefully they're not too loud. But yesterday I went back to this place, and one of the co-owners was not there. So at least I didn't see him. And so the other one is one I'd always thought of as more just friendly and, friendly person. And like me, friendly, and it might come off as flirtatious. The other one I'm not so sure about. He's kind of immature. But, so, I did usual, order what I needed and all that kind of thing. And he was the same, this one that's not immature, but he's a few years older and mature level, the same. And we had a little discussion about, he always brings up something like the weather or something, and I said, yeah, it's, good weather, and it's hot as October from what I heard from Adam, that it's the hottest October we've had in a long, many, many years. And so he said something about Halloween, and I said, I just got back. I just came back from a store to buy Halloween candy for the kids, in the neighborhood. And at the same time, he kind of laughed, and he said that the way he said it, he left out one word. And he said, yeah, I told him not to buy candy early because I love those crunchy ones, or something like that. And I looked at him, and he left out that one word. His what? His wife, his daughter, his friend, his whatever. He left out that one word. So that part was a little funny to me. And it's like a pause, just a sudden pause, just like I said it. So I said, yeah, that can happen too, because he had asked me, he said, is it going to make it to Halloween? Because it's candy, and I know how that goes. And yeah. And I said, yeah, you got to wonder. And so it was just a, conversation like people do when they're friendly, and you're, at their business. So I left from there, and I started thinking about it. I thought it was funny, but later on I started thinking about it, and I remembered this erotomania that people sometimes, have, where they think that somebody in some kind of high position, or like a business owner, whatever, is in love with them when they're not. And it made me think about that again, because Now this, I've actually considered this guy was trying to flirt with me. I've considered this guy's just friendly. I've considered these two. I'm pretty sure they were trying to triangulate me. And the other one, the one I just mentioned, the more mature one, he wasn't playing into it either. It's like he was, when the other one was trying to, this mature one. So it brought it all up again to me. Okay. Now what it brought up in me was a memory from in my 40s. I'm in my 50s now, early 50s, 53. But it reminded me of something that was around age 45 or 46. And it was another same kind of situation, but I was actually dating one man, and the other one, his friend, was very immature, around the same age. And I think we all know people who are narcissistic type, toxic people. They, some of them, they act like they're stuck in a earlier stage, like it could be even high school, and that's the feeling that this guy at this place that I go to does. It makes it feel like it's what he's doing is more high schoolish, like high school, immature, sophomoric. So it makes the situation feel like that. And I was thinking, even this situation felt like that, And then I started thinking about that situation I had when I was in my 40s. And I started thinking back to even when I was a child, how difficult it was to read that kind of situation. Teenagers, when you're teenagers, you might feel that, if somebody's flirting with you, you're questioning it. Is that person being nice to me, or is that person being, flirtatious? But maybe even when you're young, you don't even know the difference, is that there might be just some people who are friendly, and that's not flirtatious, and being friendly is not the same. But it brought up all those thoughts. And that's the kind of video I was making. Of course, when it was a minute, it was a much shorter, and I didn't even get finished with it because of the situation I mentioned in the last video. But yeah, it brought up those things again. So, it's a bit like to be understanding of people who do something like that maybe they're just that confused. You see what I'm saying? But now there are extremes. Everything's like on a continuum or a spectrum, something like this. People who do think, that somebody's being friendly to them. They think this person wants to, is in love with me. Some go that far to think that this person is in love with me, when it could just be that the person's friendly. So anyway, I think I've rambled enough about this one, and I'll put this up. I'm not sure if today or tomorrow, but I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.